I'm Todd Cleppe with Rivers of Living Water Ministry. And for those of you who don't know, I've been to Israel many times. I started in 2009. And on that trip, I was blessed to go to this little place called Rotem. And it's in Samaria. And Didi and Shira Amozi, some of you have tasted the olive oil from there before, because years ago we brought back 20 cases. And some of you have tasted it and ever since have been asking me, when can you get olive oil? So today I have the pleasure of introducing to you Shilo Pleser. I met him, I think it was 2020. We came and Shira and Didi have grown and you're helping them with their business now.
Yes. So that's where we met. I partnered with them about 7 years ago. My vision was to turn a lot of the farms in the Samaria and Judean Samaria area not to be only an ideology, but also as a business model. Most of the farmers have a lot of passion and ideology, but they have not so much of business skills, to say the least. So I came from that point of view. I'm doing business development for 20 years, and I decided to move on the agricultural area about 7 years ago. And Didi and Shira were my first initiative. And thank God, since we started, we grow a lot. But I don't think we came to talk about the business, but more about the situation in Israel right now. As someone who just came back from the front line, from the battlefield last week, while my kids, my son basically, who is 26 and serving in a special unit, and my two sons-in-law and special units, 3 of them inside Gaza, and 2 of my daughters serving in the IDF as officers, and 4 of my brothers, part of them on the Lebanese border, fighting Hezbollah, some of them in Gaza. So I think this is what people are interested to know about these days.
I just wanted to give a little bit of a background, because how long ago did you make Aliyah? Because originally you were here in the U.S., correct?
No.
I
was born.
I'm sorry.
I'm privileged. I see it as a real privilege to be born in Israel. I'm third generation in Israel.
Sabar.
Sabar, and also my parents, my grandparents, they both came from Europe, Israel.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. So that they came over then when after the war.
1 quarter had the I don't know if it's wisdom or luck or support from God. He came on the 20th, much before the war, and he succeeded to do some business here. And 3 quarters, which means his life, and the other side for my mom, came after the war. No, the truth is another side came a few days before the war, 1939. He came to Haifa port.
Wow.
And my grandmother from my mom's side survived the Auschwitz, and hardcore Holocaust survivor with all the menu.
Yes.
So
did they tell you stories about when they came? I mean, because some people think that there were no Jews in Israel until they came back in 1948, and that's not the truth. There were many Jews already there. I've met people who say their family never left Israel.
That's true. Listen, I'm young. I just celebrated my 49 birthday. But let's start from my own family. As I told you, my grandfather came from Germany 1923.
Wow.
Okay, so that I can witness. We have lands in a city called Kfar Saba, which is registered since then, which is about exactly 100 years ago. I personally know families that are here for 10, 15 generations, which means hundreds of years.
Yes.
And I'm familiar with people that are, according to the tradition and the history and, you know, the information that we have, never left Israel. But
Amen.
we know that historically, yes, we were exiled by God about 2,000 years ago. This is not a secret,
Right.
and this is the majority. But yes, minority of Jews still stayed here. And let's say since 200 years ago, more or less, 250, the movement of coming back much earlier than Zionism. People that started to come back on the, you know, in the 18th century, 19th century, started to move back. So for sure, Jews, you know, we lived here forever and we had some leftovers. We cannot deny the fact that we did some very bad things that were a reason for God to get angry and send us for a long tour around.
Yes.
Hopefully we learned the lesson.
Yes, and he's bringing some of us back. He's bringing some of us back.
I just, you know, I have to apologize that I delayed I forgot that every Tuesday I have a Bible class on the synagogue.
Yes.
And it's 5:15 right after the worship, after praying. And we are just learning the prophet of Jeremiah. And Jeremiah is the prophet who lived exactly at the generation of the destruction and going to exile. And he said to the king, don't fight with this fact. God already decided that we are going out. Just focus on how to fix the reason that led to this situation. And I feel the same right now. You know, the war that we are experiencing, we are living in right now. We cannot blame anyone.
Right.
We cannot blame anyone but ourselves. I mean, I cannot take responsibility on the nature of this. I cannot say even people, but those kind of human beings. But I can take responsibility on our decisions as a nation, how to deal with that, how to ignore the risks, the threats, what, you know, a normal, I don't know. I can just ask you guys, I have a simple question. What would happen if Mexico would shoot just one small rocket to Texas? What would happen?
There would be a massive war. They wouldn't worry about civilians. They would just come back and begin to shoot, and there would be none of this rules that you guys have to abide by having to drop leaflets and then having to knock and warn, hey, we're gonna blow this building up, but make sure you get out before we send the missiles. Yeah, you got about 10 minutes.
So you understand, as we say, much less of Spanish speakers, you know, would survive. Yeah. Right. And this is the norm. This is a norm. This is not craziness. That's how a normal nation acts. We are the sick that we absorbing for. Is that normal to live with a shelter as part of your house? Is that normal? Is that normal to have 10 to 15 seconds to your children to run, to escape, to lie down under a car if you are driving? It's not normal. So we are the problem. We're supposed to knock them down at the first second. We didn't do it. Okay, so we cannot complain. We just have to go back to normality and handle it. So the situation, just I can tell you, you guys, you see it maybe from the media, from the television. I was walking in my feet in Gaza Strip. Just an example. In Israel, you have less than 20 hospitals, not because we are poor. We consider to be first world country.
Yes.
Gaza Strip considered to be worse than a third world country. But surprisingly, in Gaza Strip, there are 40 hospitals. How
40
can it be?
hospitals? Wow.
40. Oh, you could say, oh, these are very serious people that are taking like a hospital per 200, per 150,000 people. Great. But you know what we discovered? To call these places hospital is a sin.
Right.
These are army bases. We found inside terrorists, ammunition, rifles, rockets, mines, you name it. Whatever, among some sick people. This is a strategy. This is the evil, to use the hospitals, ambulances. You see, I'll show you. Hamas has special ambulances. They look the same as regular ambulance, but just the license is different. You'll never see it on the TV.
No.
So when we have the information that this ambulance is basically a BTR, is a vehicle that transporting warriors, terrorists, for sure we'll bomb it. Then
Yes.
the media say, oh, they killed citizens, civilians. So this is the evil. You have to see the evil in your eyes. And we are fighting the evil.
Yes.
Pure evil. I personally witnessed women of Hamas during ceasefire walking towards my soldiers, handling a young girl, maybe 4 years old. My soldiers saw this woman as a suspected. They shouted her, stop. She didn't stop. She started to escape. We shoot her, unfortunately, to death. The girl, the woman was wounded. We arrested her. We brought her to the intelligence. We found that she's a very senior warrior of Hamas. And as part of the investigation, they asked, oh, what about your daughter? She said, my daughter? I have no daughter. He said, yeah, your daughter got killed, 5 years old. She said, this is not my daughter. So they asked her, who was she? Guess what the answer is?
I don't know.
I don't know her. I just collected her on the other block, knowing that if I had 5 years old girl walking with me, the IDF will never shoot me. So I don't need any announcement to see the evil, to see how they use the people as a human shield. This is the war. This is what we are doing, and endless examples of mosques, hospitals, schools, kindergarten. Every one of those places is an army base.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of people understand. I saw something the other day because I pay very close attention. There were people complaining that civilians were being shot. And one of the things they had to show to defend the IDF is the fact that all of the Palestinians are dressed like civilians, even the Hamas. And you don't know who's who because they're not coming out with Hamas uniforms on saying we're Hamas. They're dressed like civilians. And as you said, they're using all of these places as decoys. And it's horrible. It's horrible what they do.
I'll tell you more than you say, Todd. I entered hundreds of houses in Gaza Strip. The strategy is simple. Every house is equipped with fighting equipments, mines, bombs, rifles, rockets. Why? This way, the Hamas terrorists can walk from any house they want, look like civilians, get in, pick up a building, and it's ready as an ammunition, you have inventory. And we found some that dressed as women. And not just civilian, women, when they move in between. So yes, people have to understand they care less than animals. They don't really care for them.
No.
They look at the 2 million people of Gaza really as, how can I have no description for that. Like sand, like the sand. They have sand on the beach, on the coast. People are the same for them. It's not it's like nothing. Yes, and they use all the all the moral codes and the ethical codes that we, the Western world, like we never shoot hospitals, we never shoot, innocent civilians, we never shoot ambulances. We all that they use it against us, and this is what they say when we arrest them and we investigate them. They say it up front. Yes, right now, the Shabak, the Israeli Service Security, just posted a video of investigation of one of the directors of those hospitals. And he said, he's announcing, I am a high officer in Hamas, which it's equal to a general. I am part of Hamas since 2010. He said, Yahya Sinwar has office in my hospital. What else? What else? What else? This place cannot be existing on earth with we have to erase, it's painful to see how people suffer. But, in nations, we have to understand that this is one of the codes of the Bible. As a nation, you have to take care first of your nation. The other nation's decision, it's their own problem. You choose Hamas, you voted for them, okay. I cannot replace them. This is your choice. We have to first defend our own soldiers, our own people, our own nation, our own country. I wish we could do it with a minimal damage to the other side. But once the other side, his whole existence is in order to demolish your existence, I don't see any choice. Yes. I don't see any choice. So this is what we are dealing with. It's not a real military fight.
No. I think it was the first prime minister. She said you cannot deal with terrorists who only want to destroy you, and not just destroy, they want to eliminate completely.
Yes.
Not just destroy. They want to eliminate completely. And I didn't realize these things until I first came to Israel, and I was in Zikron Yaakov, and I was visiting a community there, and we got a phone call, and it was Didi calling, asking if we could come and help him because the Palestinians had tore down his fence, and about a kilometer of fence to let their goats and sheep come in. But not only that, they had pulled an IDF soldier out into the field and shot him in the head and killed him. And I said, wow. I'm coming. Sign me up. I want to go. I was so angry that they would do something like this. And this is why when people hear the media here in the United States and they listen to the liberal media talking about these people, they don't understand. They haven't seen it firsthand. I've seen it. And I went, and that's how I got to know Didi. Is I sat side by side with him, and we put in fence in the ground and helped restore the fence. And my love for the land, and this, when I found out his whole focus was to get the young people to put their hands in the dirt from yeshiva so that they would love the land and not just give it away, and learn that you can put a seed in the ground and it will grow. I think of this all goes hand in hand. You can't separate the two. And it's such a beautiful picture, what Hashem has given to him to do, because the young people, before they go into the IDF, they come and they do civil service. And they
get connected to the land.
Yes.
They are dirtying their hands. This is the way to get connected to get the love of the land. And yes, this is as you say, we are building and planting and flourishing, and the other side is focused on destruction, demolish, kill,
Yes.
cut.
Yes.
I think it's hard for Western people that didn't witness it firsthand to understand, because we used to judge other people with our own standards. So we have standards of what hospital is, what mercy is, what meaningful is. But when you deal with a different civilization, that, you know, the human life for them is less than zero, you cannot. So how can you, how can you compare a life of? How can you compare the IDF that is trying? I'm telling you, I'm officer, a serious officer in my brigade. You know how many efforts we do up until this moment to avoid
Yes.
killing, to avoid innocent, with all the horrible situation right now. And the other side, they use, I just gave you an example, they use the people. You saw what they did in the hospitals. They bring inside tens of thousands of people as human shield. And when we catch them, they say, yes, that's why we brought them in, because we know you'll never bomb 10,000 people. Okay, so this is the way to protect 100 terrorists, to bring 10,000 people. One on 100. 100 people consider as, as a human shield of one terrorist. So it's hard. The only way to understand it is basically to come and witness it firsthand, to see the bad Israelis like me, the evils that are fighting for their families, for their lives, for the future, for the siblings, for the, and to see the other side. And, it's always easier in media to show the underdog, the poor person, but I want to tell you something. If the state of Israel would get all the capital and money and resources that were invested in Gaza Strip since 1948 till today, we could build another globe, not another country, another, And what did they do after 75 years? Fourth generation of refugees as kind of inheritance. I'm refugee. I'm trying to give my kids kind of, heritage, knowledge. They keep the status of being a refugee. The only place on earth that refugee is moving as inheritance for 4 generations. That's all what they did. So you have to come and see it in order to understand. That's the real challenge. We cannot fight the liberal media, as you say. We will always lose, because it's impossible to make the balance. They always vote for the Palestinians, for the poor, for the miserable, for the dead, for the injured, even though they do it to themselves.
Yeah. One of the things that I don't think a lot of people in the world understand either is the fact that a lot of the water that goes to Jordan and Syria comes through Israel. Israel desalinates and supplies the water for free. And also in the Gaza, the electricity, the water, all of those things are supplied also from Israel. And who's paying for that?
You're right.
Who's paying?
Correct. They don't pay for that. They don't pay.
No.
They don't pay. They owe billions to the Israeli electricity company and to the Israeli desalinization project. They owe billions.
Yes. And
why do I have to feed my enemies?
Right.
Why?
It shouldn't.
You do it. Yeah. You do it. The UN, the international community. Yes, you are right. They get electricity from Israel. Jordan get water from Israel. Syria, not exactly, but Jordan, yes. Egypt, some. The Palestinian, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's all coming from the work that you guys do. Also, it comes from taxpayers in the USA when our government gives it to them, and that's one of the things that Donald Trump stopped, was the $160 million of things that was going. He stopped it. But when this other administration got in, the first thing they do is they start to supply it again. And so it's horrible.
Yes, as you see, you know what's UNRWA, the United Nations Relief Agency for the Palestinians. We all know that this is kind of it's a wing of Hamas.
Yeah.
Supported in the budget is $1 billion. We see what they do. They use this organization as a platform for terrorism. You use the US aid money that you give them in order to make better life, and they build with that tunnels. They use it for terrors and never use it for relief of the Palestinians' life. Never, not in water, not in health. When they build health hospitals, they build it as a cover for terror bases. I think they don't really have. I believe that there are some nations, let's say, Noah cursed one of his sons to be forever slave.
Him.
I think that Palestinians are type of that. They are not capable to be a real independent nation. They are not nation. The Arab nation is big, but Palestinian is not. Is a nation that was initiated in order to fight the Israeli existence. This is they never been there. There are Arab countries. There is the Muslim as religion, but Palestinian as an ethnic origin is not. It was never the only purpose for that. And you see, with all the resources, with all the money, with all the efforts, with all the attention, it will all used for one purpose, to destroy Israel. So I think that today we understand more that it's not about giving this territory or giving it's not. It's the totally opposite. You know, that's what I see as a result, maybe as a good result of this war, that we understand. You know, we gave up the entire Gaza Strip in 2005. I didn't agree to that politically, and I knew at that time that what will happen. But okay, the government decided, and you see, this is the largest terror base on earth.
Yeah, and they were given a port, and unfortunately our president at the time was pushing it as well. And your leader also agreed to it, and he died.
Yes,
he died.
Yes.
And
I'm not. You're right.
The word talks about this. The Tanakh talks about this. Do not give away the land. And people can deny that it's real. It's real. And I was talking to another good friend of mine who is Jewish in Israel, and he said to me, he said, I hate to say this. He says, but some of those settlers are the same ones who wanted the Jews to leave Gaza, thinking that it was going to bring peace. And it didn't. And isn't it interesting now that some of them were forced into Gaza and now have to be rescued? He said, he says it was in his mind and he was thinking of that. And I never thought of it.
It's hard. I'll tell you something. It's hard to say it. But when I try to analyze the history of the state of Israel, it's a very short history, 75 years. I think on the first 30 years, we had certain type of wars. We had wars with countries, Egypt, Syria, somehow maybe Iraq. What happened, Lebanon? Since then, what happened? We are not dealing with countries, with states. We are dealing with organizations, with terror organizations.
Yeah.
This is one historical fact. In our side, we were divided to, let's say, two main subgroups. One group that believes that we kind of made any problem that we can solve by giving this or giving that or doing this. And we're trying maybe by giving Sinai, maybe by giving Judea and Samaria, Jericho, Gaza, Lebanon. This is one, one vision. The other vision is the visions that are more connected to the Bible, understanding that we are part of historical movements, that we were exiled from our land as a punishment 2,000 years ago, and now we started come back, and as part of coming back is taking responsibility and say, yeah, this is ours, there is a purpose, we have values, we have dignity, we have something to deliver to the world. And yes, we have to fight for that, because you have to fight for your independency. And I can say that it's basically the fight between the individualism, which is more influenced from the Western philosophy, towards the groups that understands that we are a nation, and each individual of the nation is first part of a nation, and a nation, in order to live national life in your independent country, you are paying a price. So I think that since the 80s, we are experiencing a lot of challenges that are focused on that. Every time there is another group that think, because you mentioned it, the Gush Katif, the settlers in Gush Katif,
yes,
why did they live there? Not because it was easy, not because it was cheap, not because it was, it was nice, but they had ideologies that this is part of the promised land. And okay, it's hard, it's difficult. Okay, all Israel is difficult. Sometimes in Tel Aviv, you have terror attacks, sometimes in Netanya, sometimes Jerusalem. The settlers inside the Green Line said, you guys are causing the problem by sitting there. If you just come back to the Green Line, everything will be okay. Unfortunately, those people who really believed that these are the communities that were destroyed now on October 7th. So I don't say it, I say it with tears. This is not my political partners, but they are my brothers. I'm crying that these people really believed in such a wrong direction, that if we do this and that, it will reduce the hatred that the Arabs, nothing will change. They want to kill us. They don't want us here. And we are coming here on behalf of God. We have a mission here. We cannot deny it. So you are right. And it's painful, but I think that this war, like the previous ones, I hope so, I pray, that it will bring us closer, that this diversity between these two camps, two groups will get closer. The understanding that it's not about us, means it's not about something wrong we did, it's about our existence. And we have just two options. If you want to give up our existence, okay, but if not, so after all, I'm optimistic. I believe in the future. Maybe I think that because I'm connected to the Bible, and I take my resources and my energy and my vision from there. But I can understand that people that are not connected to the biblical tradition, to say that, it's very hard. It's very hard. It's very hard. Yes.
It's interesting. I've been reading in the book of Samuel. I've been reading about the heart of David, and I keep praying for a leader to step in with the heart of David. He wasn't perfect, but I missed it. I missed it the first time, and many times, but I was reading this time, and I was seeing when Saul became the king, and he messed up. he didn't wait for Samuel to come. He decided to go ahead and do something because he was afraid he was losing the people. And the part that got to me was when he did wrong by doing the sacrifice, Samuel comes and he says, "What are you doing? Why did you do this?" You know, he was going to give you a kingdom that would last forever, but now he's taking it away and he's giving it to a man who has a heart after him. And I read that this time. I for some reason you read and then your eyes are opened up to different things. But it really comes back to we need to have a heart like David, a heart where when we do wrong, we repent. We admit our mistakes, we repent, and we come back to the Father and we say, "I'm sorry." And Father, like Daniel, he repented for a nation, and we have to do the same. We have to come back to the Father and say, "Teach us your ways and help us to walk your path of righteousness." And it's according to him, not us.
It's interesting that you say about David, because I just spoke about that yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and I'll give you homework. I have to finish in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So if you open chapter 17 on Samuel Aleph, yeah?
Yes.
And you see the story when David, as a teenager, came to the battlefield with Goliath. Everybody knows the story, how David killed Goliath with a stone in his hand.
Yeah.
But read back the story and see what is David doing when he arrived to visit his brothers on the battlefield. And read just the 15, 20 psukim that describing the reality since he came to visit in the camp till he killed Goliath. I found there the reason why David became a king. And basically, it's the extreme opposite to Saul. What Saul, he gave an excuse to Samuel. What did he say? Asher yareti et ha'am, I was afraid from the people, and I was listening to them. A leader is not there in order to listen to the people. He is there in order to lead the people to listen to what he has to say, to give them the direction in the future. And if you read these chapters 17 and Samuel, you'll see what King David did there before he was king. Yeah. And you see the interaction between him and Saul. It's very interesting. I'll be happy to have a class or a lecture about that. Just we can set up a lecture about that.
I would like that
with a Bible, with an open Bible,
going
like a pasuk by pasuk. How do you say pasuk?
Line by line, or word by
line is we have like each chapter is divided to not to line to what
is it, verse by verse?
Yeah. So okay, that's for the next time. A lecture about what made David as the Almighty King.
Yes, this would be good. I like this. Before we end, I have many people who I'm in touch with. I'm contacting about supporting the farmers in Israel. I'm taking both of these and putting them into one message because I believe in what you guys are doing there. I've been out there. I've put my own hands in the dirt there. I've helped harvest some of the olives. I've helped put up the fence there. I haven't done a bunch, just a little. My kids have helped grab the sheep and help inoculate the sheep. So we've done a little bit, and we love it there. But I want to support the farmers. We've met a couple who his grandmother was in the Gaza Strip, and she had a flower place, and Shira took us over to this farmer to meet. And it was really one of the most blessed things that I did when I was in Israel with my wife and another couple. And she couldn't believe that these Americans had come to be a blessing She came and she was from Hebron, and she came right up to my face and she says, "Why are you here?" Because she was used to people attacking her for being there, Palestinians, people who were against the settlers, and she couldn't believe that we were there to encourage and to support and to help. And then when she found out we were, her and her husband had us come in and have some tea with them, and it really blessed us. So I just want to say this. We've talked about olive oil. Can you explain a little bit about the olive oil and how when people purchase the olive oil, it can help the farmers? People don't realize that you guys had to drop everything, leave your farms, leave what you're doing, and walk away. And they're still there. And they have to be supported. They have to be maintained somehow.
Yeah, so first, the reality of leaving everything behind and jump into the war and forget about your business and your farm is really something that people will never understand. It's I just, I didn't think about that. Look, in my under my chair, this is my army uniform. Okay, that's like, this is, you say I'm a normal person, but it's ready here in case I'm called. This is the reality we live, and me and my partners are there. I think that this first, it's a great way to support the fighters and the farmers, because the farmers are right now fighting in the battlefield. So this is first. It's a two-in-one. It's supporting the Israeli farmers and supporting the Israeli fighters, because farmers are fighting right now.
Yes.
Who's helping us to run the farm? A lot of volunteers, and thank God, and God is helping a lot. We have an orchard of that, producing a few thousands of liters of olive oil every year, and it's organic olive oil made out of 6 or 7 different type of olives. That some of them are more strong and spicy, some of them are more light and fruity. You have to be a very fine schmecker to understand the differences, like in wine. But in general, it's a very good. It's a cold press, very very good quality. We won some international awards during the years, and I think today, when people are coming and want to support, farmers and fighters are not looking for support. They're looking to make business, to keep the business alive. So I think the best support is to buy our product, and if we can ship a few thousands of bottles that are made with love from the fresh harvest. We just finished it about a month ago or 5 weeks ago. We can build like a special blend that will be made as a combination of the stronger and spicy ones with the lighty ones. So we'll have a kind of an average taste that any norm average person who is not very into the olive oil will love it, either for the salad, for the bread, for the omelette, for whatever. I think that this is the greatest support people can do, is to come and work in the farm. And the second is to purchase the farm's products, not only now, but during the year. So we'll be happy to ship it right now, also for Purim, for Passover, where people are looking for a special olive oil all over the year. So I think first, if we set up kind of a line that is over time, once in a while, we can ship a pallet that people will buy. This will be, I think that nothing is better. It's not a support, it's a partnership. So I think if people are looking for real partnership with the Israeli frontline warriors that are also farmers that are working the promised land, the biblical land, with their own 10 finger, nothing can be better than this. We can ship it in the best price we can do in order to help the farm make make some money,
Yes.
but it's really best quality, done with love, best cold press, fresh, organic. What can be better to
Kosher.
purchase from?
It's
Kosher.
Yes.
It's kosher.
It's Israeli hands that are picking it too.
Yeah, Israelis.
Yes.
Only Israelis are. Yes, yes. We believe as part of our mission is to educate the young generation that working in the agriculture is a privilege. It's
Yes.
not a punishment. And we
Yes.
have, as part of independence, we have to have the people that are farmers. So that's why we are not bringing Chinese to do the
Yes.
harvest.
Yes.
We do it ourselves. Yes.
I remember sitting across from Didi, and he told me, he says, we only use the Jewish people to do this. And I said, well, I'm from the United States. And he looked at me and he pointed at my heart and he says, you are Jewish in your heart. He says, you can come. You can come.
Exactly. Jew is everybody who wants to support the Jewish life in Israel. It's not about your region. It's about your intentions.
Yes. So I just know anybody who gets the oil will be very blessed. We were very blessed with it. And we can't wait to come back and say hello again. So thank you very much, Shilo. I'm going to hold you to talking again about King David.
No problem. I'll be happy.
All right.
Just with open Bibles.
Yes.
Just you have to give the people a lot of open Bibles.
Yes, will do. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We'll be in touch. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.